what is practice? Though we have understand in the SIAM ecosystem, what is the meaning of practice? So we'll try to reiterate here. Practice is actual application or use of an idea, belief, or method as opposed to theories relating to it. So in a simple term, any application or any utility or a use, assuming pen's utility is finally to write. That's its application. However, this pen can be used in all the environments. It can be utilized by everyone. It is really affordable, possible to access whenever you need it, possible to be available all the time, every time. And all these aspects are nothing but practice. And this practice is nothing but an application, a usage in a SIAM ecosystem. So here we are talking about how do we apply those practices, principles, and concepts which can deliver value. Now, practice can be anything of any type, but we need to really understand what are those practices which are practically possible to implement in a SIAM ecosystem. One aspect is which can deliver value. Another aspect is practically possible to implement, affordable, and any service integrator, customer, and service provider, they think that there is a value in implementing it. So all these aspects summarize to understand when we try to implement any practice, of course, there'll be a real-time challenges. So we're gonna look at what is those practice, the category of practices, list of the practices under those category, plus we trying to understand the challenges associated with it. So there are 4 SIAM practices in the environment of ecosystem. We have a people, process, technology, and measurement. So let's first understand people practices. People practices has a major aspect or key aspect of this practice is called managing cross-functional teams. What is this managing cross-functional team? So group of people with different functional expertise working towards a common goal. And as we know that people can be of any type, coming from any structural element, any entities. It can be from finance, marketing, sales, operations, human resource, such kind of departments which are generally available in any organization. And we are talking about all levels of this employees, because sales manager can be also there, sales director can also be there, and it can have a possibly role called chief sales officer, right? So all the levels part of this managing cross-functional teams. And these teams are referred in the SIAM ecosystem structural elements because they are from different organizations. Structural element itself is saying that there is a structure which we are referring here as SIAM ecosystem. In that there are different elements. Elements are nothing but the different organizations, legal entities, what we call it. So these legal entities have generally categorized into 3 aspects of practices. First will be board, process forums, and working groups. Now, when we talk about boards, process forums, and working groups, these are the category, and all these levels, various types of managing cross-functional teams would be running and would be required. At the board level, definitely there are people from service provider, customer, and service integrator. Even there are process forums. All these process forums, when they are running, obviously you need a majority of service provider who will be associating with or impacting with various processes, and there'll be a process owners, and there'll be a service integrator who will be driving this probably. Then there are working groups. Now, working groups are nothing but created for a temporary purpose or for a common goal, assuming uh, deciding how do you do a sprint planning for a particular change in the SIAM ecosystem, or how do you really implement change management across SIAM ecosystem? How do you implement transition aspect of any feature which is going live, right? So these are working groups which you create, and you ensure that there is a specific type of mechanism which is being followed, and we call this working group as one of the practice. Under that, there are people from a different functional expertise working towards a common goal. So let's understand there are majority two groups. Working groups can be a major incident working group. They work together to share the outcomes, which is nothing but a incident resolution, right? Any service provider who is working or adhering to the incident management process, aligning to their applications, infrastructure, network devices, these are the specific type of services which they support. And for that, they will have a process called incident management. And there is any issue, then they have to really tackle that issue through an incident. An incident has to be submitted, it has to be analyzed, investigated, and resolved. Now, when we talk about resolving the incident, that's a kind of a requirement of a process, and that's a requirement of any service provider. However, the most important aspect is the resolution aspect. Are all these working groups taking care of resolving the incident in a same way? Same time, there is a requirement which is coming from a customer. So there is a specific objective that you should resolve in this way only. And service provider also have a specific objectives, right, which they have to align to this requirement, and that requirement is coming from a customer. So they also have a specific objectives. So what we are trying to say here is both his objective has to be balance match. I would say balance only, that is important. And once they balance, that does mean what they think about resolving incident and what we think about resolving incident as a service provider, they are similar. So it works well. And what works well, that also gel well. So it's basically managing cross-functional team. Coming back to integrated change advisory board. So integrated change advisory board is taking care of various changes. How do you approve it? Who will approve it? How that has to be really, categorized. How these changes are supposed to be implemented. So review, prioritize, assess risk if there are any risk for implementing that particular change. Approve or reject the changes in an integrated environment. Now, integrated environment means we are again referring about in a SIAM ecosystem. Who will be taking care of it? There is a CAB, which is like integrated change advisory board, which will be taking care of the service integrated organization. And there are people who are impacted by this change, or they are contributing to this change. They will be part of this team, and they will be slowly and steadily taking care of all these activities under CAB, correct? So let's move forward. If we understand these are the practices, so under the people,